My name is Sabyasachi. I work with WASSAN, Watershed Support Services and Activity Network. I coordinate a program called Revitalizing Rainfed Agriculture Network and also part of the NCNF, that is National Coalition for Natural Farming. I'm going to talk about livestock integration in natural farming, some of the perspective, principles and practices. This photograph signifies something. I tried to bring in a different kind of a perspective in the natural farming. This is the place where livestock are reared not for the milk only, but also to integrate into the farming system. Let us talk about some of the doubts and some of the doubts in natural farming and put it into the perspective. So whether only the desi cow, the native cow, is absolutely essential for the natural farming. Do other livestock species like sheep and goat, buffalo, camel also contribute into the natural farming? Whether this natural farming is related to only crop husbandry and limited to the farm, or it has a meaning in the landscape or beyond the farm. We'll also talk about some interconnections, interlinkages that is there in the natural farming, particularly in case of crop husbandry and livestock production system. We'll talk about some of the role that animal husbandry department can play in promoting natural farming in the country. As I said, is there any interconnection of this kind of a livestock production system with the natural farming or agriculture operation? This is the photographs taken from Bunny grassland, which is a largest tropical grassland in Asia. And along with the buffalo, there is a important buffalo breed in Bunny, which is called Bunny buffalo breed. But along with the buffalo breed, the pastoral community, the breeders, also rear Kankaraj cattle. These are the animals which are actually reared as a bullock, and they goes for the farming operation. Then how, when we are talking about natural farming, we are talking about bullock, we are starting with the discussion with the bullock. Why? If you look at the principles of agroecology, principles of natural farming, you'll find that one of the important principle is to look into diverse cropping system in natural farming system. And diverse cropping system can be promoted by use of bullock. If you remember that we used to have a lot of bullock population in the country, and still today there is a lot of bullock population primarily in the rain-fed region in the country. There are more than 50 plus recognized indigenous breed of cattle, but out of those 50, more than 40 are basically draft animal. So from the beginning, the diversity, diverse agroecological zone, diverse climate actually brought up this kind of a different indigenous bullock population, and it has a meaning in the natural farming system. The more we have a bullock in the farming system, then we'll be able to promote diverse cropping system, and diverse cropping system is one of the important principles which recycle a lot of nutrition in soil. So therefore bullock is very important. I'll give you some of the examples that has come from different parts of the country. This is the bullock supported multi-crop system, and in this multi-cropping system, which is, in Andhra Pradesh it is called Navdanya, lot of multi-cropping system. The traditional multi-cropping system are still available in Rayalaseema region of Andhra Pradesh. The similar kind of a system is also called as Akdi Salu in Karnataka. Similar kind of a multi-cropping system is also called Hangdi Kheti or Sangdi Kheti in the tribal belt of Rajasthan. In Vidarbha, Maharashtra, it is called Pata Paddhati. In Himachal, it is called Bara Anaj. So there are different kind of a multi-cropping system. Let us look at that the other technologies being promoted as a part of farm mechanization is tractor. Tractor is primarily meant for the monocropping. You have thousands of acre of rice or paddy or wheat, and then it's a tractor helps it to promote monocropping. But when we are talking about natural farming, we are talking about multi-cropping system, we are talking about multi-crop that helps in soil health, soil nutrition. In that kind of a system, bullock is essential. But the question is whether we think about bullock when we are talking about natural farming in a farm system or crop husbandry. Probably not. So therefore, in this talk, I wanted to bring in this perspective that bullock is one of the important essentials for promoting natural farming. So if a state or a nation wants to design a natural farming program, there is a need to incorporate the different kind of a support system that requires bullock to be part of that natural farming system. Now then I'm again coming into the another production system that is also comes from western part of the country, and this is the area where pastoral community rear buffalo. As I said, it is bunny buffalo in the bunny grassland, and this whole production system primarily a natural production system. This animal goes for the grazing in the grasslands and come back in the morning and provide milk. So do we consider, when we are talking about natural farming, this kind of a production system as a part of the natural farming? In my opinion, we should consider these kind of a pastoral production system as a natural farming system. I'll give another example of a pastoral production system which is not part of the discourse of the natural farming. Yes, this is a camel. This is a unique camel. The breed has been recognized by the National Bureau of Animal Genetic Resources. It is also from Kutch district of Gujarat, where Animal Husbandry Department and a local organization, Sahajivan, worked on registration of this camel breed, which is called Kharai camel. What is the specialty of this Kharai camel? It goes to sea, it goes to the island, it swims through the creek and then graze on the mangroves. And when there is a lot of rain, then they come back to the nearby locations and they are primarily feeding on the saline species. So in Kharai, in Gujarati, it is basically means salty. So this animal actually survive on the saline species which other animal does not feed on. So this unique system produce camel milk, and many knows that camel milk has a lot of therapeutic properties. It has a lot of medicinal properties, and with the efforts of a lot of agencies like government of Gujarat, Animal Husbandry Department, Sahajivan and Amul, they have come up with the procurement systems to procure camel milk from the camel herders, and then started packing camel milk as a camel milk. So I considered this kind of a production system, this kind of a milk coming from the camel are a natural product. And when we are discussing about the natural farming, we should also understand these type of production system are part of the natural farming system. So let us look at now crop livestock landscape. So The primary argument is that in the natural farming, we need to have livestock, and these livestock are not only dependent on the farmland or farm produce fodder. These are actually dependent on, a lot of these animals dependent on commons, and as I said earlier, the crop system, the multiple cropping system in different places is called differently. They produce a lot of fodder, they produce a lot of straw, and then from the crops we get burn, we get a lot of from the animal we get a draft power, and then lot of recycling happen. If you look at the agroecological principles of FAO, recycling of the resources is very important principles in agroecology. In natural farming, therefore we say that it is not only about the crop and how you are reducing the use of chemicals in the crop, but this can help you if we integrate the livestock. And when we are integrating the livestock, it is we need to think of a from a landscape perspective. So there is an area, there is a landscape, and there is a lot of interactions happens between crops, livestock, and the landscape. So I think that if we when we talk about natural farming, if we have this kind of a framework which is adapted from one of the studies, and those will be very useful. If we look at commons has its meaning into the natural farming, because a lot of ecosystem support services being provided by commons, whether it is in pollination and keeping the paste out of the farm and all that. All those will be very useful if we think of this kind of a framework. When we are talking about, my primary point is, when we are talking about natural farming, so don't look only about the crop production. Look at the livestock and its integration, look at the commons. These will be the whole of the natural farming, rather than looking at a compartment separately, like somebody looking at commons or natural resource management part, somebody else is looking at livestock, another one is looking at the crop. I think this kind of a convergence, this kind of a synergy is very much important if we really want to promote natural farming. As I said, livestock is very important. If we look at the discussion, discourse, and etc., fodder has been an issue, and fodder will be an issue for a quite long time. Then what are the options that we have to look into the fodder security? One, as I said, that we need to work on commons, a revival of a regeneration of commons as a part of the natural farming program. We need to also look at what are the other resources available. So here is a example from Andhra Pradesh. It is from the Anandpur district, which is known as a drought prone district. It is a dry land. It is in the dry land, so getting fodder is a difficult in this kind of an area. But here there are some of the practices that we have evolved, we have tried with the community, by some of our colleagues in WASSAN, and then we tried to look at that what are the availability of fallow land, map the fallow land, and then see that how the fallow land can be brought into a multiple fodder production. If you look at that, there are 7, 8, 9, 10 kind of fodder been grown together, and there is another practices that has been promoted by RYSS, which has been the pioneer of scaling up natural farming in Andhra Pradesh. They have come up with a techniques called PMDS, pre-monsoon dry sowing, and this pre-monsoon dry sowing of fodder seeds in the fallow land can actually provide a fodder security to a village. This is an example. This is an example where a village has a deficit of fodder worth of 17 lakhs, by working on the fodder production, multiple fodder production in the fallow land, this village has become a. So if we need to look at natural farming, there must be a component of a fodder security, and there is a possibility of having fodder security from commons as well as from the fallow land. So here, women and men in the village came together. They made a plan. They mapped out all the current fallows, and they worked on the PMDS mode, and then also grown fodder. And now this milk economy of this village is also flourishing. This is the example from the Chittoor district. So we all know that mm, Jivamrita and all these uh, things are very, very essential for promoting natural farming. Now, if we look at our experiences, whether you call it as a organic farming, sustainable agriculture, ecological farming, or so on and so forth, you will find that the problem was to promote natural farming was primarily the labor that is required for natural farming. So if we are not applying any chemical, then you need to have a system, and that systems should be easier for the farmers. So there is a lot of innovation has been done in utilizing the uh, urine, cow urine and cow dung, and making this formulation of Jivamrita in a semi-automatic way, so that this Jivamrita can be made available to as many as farmer. So therefore, there is a need of promoting a entrepreneur in a village who collect, utilize this cow urine and cow dung, make Jivamrita, and then there is a chances of selling this Jivamrita among the other farmers in a village. So this is another area which is very, very important. Now, coming back to the question of whether it is cow or it is only desi cow, here I think my perspective goes like that. Cow is very, very useful and very important. It has its own benefit, but in some places you will find that nowadays a lot of crossbreeding have happened in last 30 years or so. So therefore there might be a lack of things. But why we actually talk about, many people talk about desi cow, is because the resources that is required for desi cow is much less. They are adapted to that particular ecosystem and agroclimatic zone than the crossbeds. So there is a, beyond the utility of cow urine and cow dung, there is another dimension of preferring desi cow in the natural farming, is just due to its adaptability into that ecosystem, and also less resource, fodder resource requirement for them. And many of the desi cattle, desi cow, are also having a good resistance capacity against the diseases. So therefore we can say that we should prefer desi cow, but in some places where desi cow are not available, we can go ahead with the other. It is not only about the cow, but there is some other species always helps in promoting natural farming. I will come back to that part little later. So along with cow dung, cow urine, as animals are very, very important. I see that we also need to look into our energy requirement in the natural farming, and this kind of a hybrid models of solar, which is mobile in nature, by adding one single bullock into the systems. Those solar pump can be taken to a farm, and in different farm to provide water to the crops. So therefore not only about this kind of a hybrid system, but also the application of Jivamrita that can also be used by this kind of a utilization of draft animal power. How other livestock species can also help in natural farming. So I see that there is a traditional practices which is called penning, where pastoral community keep the provide a night stay of animal in the in the farm, and that has been used as a soil health kind of a measures being taken up. This is done traditionally. If you look at Rajasthan, if you look at Gujarat, as well as in the central belt, as well as in the Deccan Plateau, a lot of sheep herders have a relationship with the farmers, and farmer used to ask them to pen their animals on the farmland. I see that this is one of the very useful, low cost technique for improving soil health. This could be, but in the discussion and the discourse of natural farming, the penning as a one of the practices for the natural farming, wherever it is possible, wherever it is traditionally being done, is not been discussed that way. So I thought that it is important to bring in the traditional penning practices that needs to be think through as a part of a natural farming practices in several places in the country. Now I will be coming back to another species, that is the poultry. And if you look at the poultry population, backyard poultry population in the villages, you'll find that 84% of them are desi poultry. They survive primarily on the foraging, do not need a lot of external inputs for this poultry to grow. This is very useful supplementary income to the many rural families, particularly in the tribal areas. We have experimented with this kind of a poultry where half an acre of land is kept for foraging of poultry, and then a lot of other integration. We call it as a intensive natural farm, where vegetables, fruits, etc. are being also added along with the fodder crops. So this is an example that has come from the Andhra Pradesh, particularly in the tribal area as well as in the Rayalaseema region, where half an acre of land is dedicated for a breeding farm which produces chicks and then grown as a adult, and then they sold the adult. And this half an acre of land, if properly integrated in a natural farming system, then it can generate 70,000 rupees to more than 1 lakh rupees in a year. And we found that this kind of a natural integrated natural farms, where poultry droppings helps in soil, poultry helps in reduction of the pest, particularly the insect, and then also these different kind of trees and vegetables actually provide a lot of shade to the poultry, and there is a lot of vitamins, etc. comes from the fruits and vegetables, which is very essential for the desi poultry and poultry itself. So if this kind of a system is developed, and it is developed in the backyard, so wherever there is a backyard land available, then this kind of a model can come up very easily. And we see this as a one of the benefit for the particularly the people who migrate for few months in search of their livelihood. And we have seen that a migrating community, they earn about 30 to 50,000 rupees in 4 to 5 months time. But this kind of a system, they can easily earn that type of income from a half an acre of land. This If you increase the half an acre land to 1 acre of land, then this income will be much higher. So the point we are trying to make it that, so livestock, earlier we talk about bullock, earlier we talk about penning of sheep, also talk about how the cattle, cow and etc. that helps in preparation of Jivamrita and all the other essentials that is required for both soil health management as well as the crop protection. Similarly, this poultry can also helps in important income, significant income, if we integrate it properly. Backyard poultry, desi poultry, native chicken are very. I have put some of the photographs that has been taken from Rayalaseema as well as the north coast of Andhra Pradesh, where women actually led this kind of an enterprise in their home, in their backyard, integrating with lot of trees and trees, fodder and vegetables. And with this, if I look at that, there is a huge potential in the country, particularly now due to the lot of antibiotic use in the poultry industries. People are now preferring the desi poultry, which is a free range, which is grown in free range conditions, and there is a lot of health benefit from the poultry as well. The eggs are having less cholesterol, then they have a lot of more vitamin A and vitamin E, and then they have a 3 times more omega-3, so which helps in the people having heart diseases and etc. So let us look at this natural farming system as a system which helps in overall health of the people, and then healthy people tend to grow much faster than the others. So this is a kind of a design of this kind of an integrated intensive natural farm, where, as I said, that a lot of trees, a lot of vegetables, a lot of different species of trees has been integrated. There is a poultry, you can keep some few goats, sheep or cattle, and then there is a lot of other things has been made for better foraging, better protein requirement that the poultry has from this kind of a system. So this is a kind of a model for an half an acre of land, and though there is a capital required for this, there is a need of around 1.5 lakhs to establish this kind of a intensive natural farm, and however the cost, if we look at the cost benefit ratio, you can actually get the return in 1.5 years, and returns start from the 6th month itself from the poultry. So wherever there is a kind of a orchard with the, I see that there is a lot of integration, convergence can happen with the horticulture department and the animal husbandry department in to promote this kind of a model in the country. So this is an example where this kind of an integrated natural farm with poultry have earned 1.5 lakh rupees in a year from half an acre of land by integrating a lot of things. Now here the person has also integrated fisheries. A small fish pond has been developed there, and there is a lot of important element has been integrated in this kind of a intensive natural farms. So while integrating the livestock, there are few support services which are very essential. One is that community managed healthcare, animal healthcare system, particularly focusing on ethno-veterinary, as a lot of people are facing health issues and all that. So therefore people are talking about less antibiotic used product, and here is there is a need to shift from antibiotic. There is a lot of microbial resistance in the human body and all that. A lot of reports are coming in those cases. Therefore, there is a need to shift towards the ethno-veterinary practices, which has been a lot of traditional knowledge are available in tribal areas and in the other places as well. So there is a need for that kind of a support system to be established, and there is a need of those knowledge to be translated to the younger generation, and that is possible. Then I also said that it is also important to look at fodder management and in the system itself, whether it is in the farm, whether it is in the fallows, and as well as in the commons. And then, as I said, that there are example where the milk and milk product and the other product has been channelized, has been a procurement system has been developed, and if those systems has also been into the place. So what primarily I'm trying to say is that, so it is not about chemical versus non-chemical. It's all about how we are designing the support system. The more we are aware of this, setting up this support system, it will be easier for us to move towards natural farming. Now I'm coming back to the role that animal husbandry department can play in promoting natural farming. So first is that animal husbandry department should acknowledge the pastoral system, pastoral production system, as a part of the natural farming. And along with the pastoral production system, the extensive livestock system are very close to that. And therefore it is important that in different government program we try to look at the how pastoral production system and extensive production system can help in transition in the natural farming. I think it is also important that in the national livestock policy as well as in the national livestock mission, we need to look into integration of some of these practices, some of these models as a part of the scheme in national livestock mission. If there is a component of the poultry, but the most of this poultry component actually promotes broilers, promote layers in a large scale with lot of uses of antibiotics and all that. But there should be a subsection, subcomponent, which should also promote the desi poultry with the system that has been emerged in different places in the country, where desi poultry in half an acre of land or 1 acre of land with a lot of layers of trees and vegetables has been incorporated. So those kind of an enterprise should also be part of the national livestock mission. I also look at that there is a need to recognize the role of bullock in the natural farming. So department also need to look at that where and how the animal drawn implements being promoted with the farmers who are doing the natural farming. So with a lot of synergies are possible, and therefore with a lot of convergence of animal husbandry department with the agriculture department can actually make the natural farming possible, and in a large scale in country like India. So livestock in the landscape will support natural farming in much bigger way, and many of the photographs I would like to give credit to the teams that I have worked with, whether it is in Sajivan in Gujarat, whether it is WASSAN, or different members of RRA network. The photographs that is there in the last two, the below one, this is a typical cattle found in Telangana, and this is known as Poda Turpo, and this has been registered as first cattle breed in the state of Telangana. And this has a very unique capacities. This cattle actually use very much both in the wetland and the dry land in Telangana. And The pastoral community, particularly Lambadi, Gola, in and around Nagar Karnool district, earlier it was Mehboob Nagar district, they rear these animals. They prepare this as a bullock, and these bullocks are being then taken up by the farmers to do the agricultural operation. Similarly, there are a lot of other native population of cattle are available, and as I said that the bullock can play a very significant role, particularly in the diverse cropping systems. And diverse cropping system helps in getting the greater climate resilience. And all these cattle and the indigenous breeds of livestock are very, very useful and adapted to the climate vagaries. So therefore, it is important while we are talking about natural farming, when we are talking about the biodiversity, when we are trying to bring in a lot of different diverse seeds. So therefore, we also need to integrate the diverse animal genetic resources which is vast in the country to integrate into the natural farming system. So overall, I'm trying to put into this, and that we need to integrate. We need to see the synergies. We need to look at the resource use efficiencies. So there is a chances of using recycling a lot of the resources through the animal husbandry system in the natural farming. So therefore, when we are talking about natural farming, it is important that we look at the larger picture, the whole picture together. So it is not different compartment of crop production, livestock production, and it is a part of the natural systems. And therefore, it is important to look into all the three together so that we can get the benefit of the natural systems in the natural farming.